The numbers on the animals that were shot and killed were 2 wolves, 6 black bears, 2 grizzly bears, 9 male lions, 8 lionesses, a baboon, 3 mountain lions, and 18 Bengal tigers.
Months after the exotic animal release that made national headlines, and sheriff's deputies are still chasing loose animals from the Thompsons' farm.
It is frustrating for us to have to tie up our cars when we feel there's better use for our officers to be out there assisting our citizens in a different manner.
Since November, deputies have received 13 calls for horses that escaped from the farm, a farm that borders heavily traveled Interstate 70.
It does throw a little bit of a curve in there with the interstate being close, because we know if we put that on a back burner and don't get to it fast enough, that those animals could have time to run at large down around that area and could cause some serious property damage or injuries.
On separate occasions, callers reported a horse standing on the interstate overpass, a horse loose on the south side of Interstate 70, a horse grazing on the interstate berm, 3 horses running down the middle of the road, and one homeowner on Real Road reported 4 horses destroying his property and feeders. Sheriff Lutz says deputies will attempt to wrangle the animals, but when they can't, they have to call in a Thompson farmhand, since Marion usually isn't at the farm.
It's a huge process for us because, we're sending a cruiser out there, and by the time, however long it takes to get there, plus waiting for the person to get there, waiting for them to get the animal caught.
With only 4 to 8 cruisers on patrol in the county at a time, the sheriff says they can't afford to have one tied up chasing horses. And then there's the question, with the Thompsons' well-documented financial troubles, can Marion afford to keep the horses and property safe and healthy?
When you have a 77-acre farm and you have fence all the way around it, it's a lot to keep up with.
Mary Jones, founder of the Winnie Horse Rescue, says some fencing that borders the interstate is just woven wire, which is a cheaper fencing choice and not as secure.
From what I saw, it was very weak in places, being held up by metal rods that would probably, through time, have gotten loose. So it's just a matter of pushing it over and walking over it.
And there are other issues with the property. In past due taxes, penalties, and current year taxes, more than $12,000 is owed on the Kopchak Road farm. An adjacent piece of property in Terry's name has more than $2,000 owed in past due and current year taxes. Then there are 2 federal tax liens that were placed against the Thompsons, one for nearly $40,000 and one for just over $16,000. And you can't forget, besides taxes and fencing, horses themselves are a huge expense, and there are more than 2 dozen on the Thompson farm.
A horse, to maintain it in a healthy condition, takes anywhere from $250 to $300 a month.
We tried to speak with Marion Thompson regarding the farm, and she said she can't answer any questions. Reporting from Falls Township, I'm Kelly Mills.